A$AP Rocky dropping his first album in years in a few weeks, and just the other day, he dropped the lead single for it. But this wasn't no ordinary lead single. He had some words for the one and only Drake on there, and the internet was on fire. But this wasn't nothing new. The world been knew these two done hated each other for a long time now. But what really caused everything? Was it Rihanna? Was it some underlying problems? Well, let's find out. These two artists been around for years. I'm talking about these dudes got hit songs out together. But Drake had always been around just a little longer than Rocky. So back when Rocky was trying to come up and get his foot in the game, Drake was one of the first people to ever come out and help him.
I'm the only person that put on for me when I ain't have nobody was Drake. I'm talking about Drake was the first person to put on like anybody. He didn't want to sign me.
Yeah.
He didn't want to, it was like, yo, that's raw talent, yo. Like, you gotta shine, yo. I'm a see ever old Drake.
What was the like the first conversation? Like you knew that he was trying to get at you?
I swear to God, man, the first conversation, he was himself. He said, yo, first off, I'm gonna let you know I'm a real I'm a man of my word. Basically, he was saying he's a stand-up guy. Mind you, this is a guy that everybody's well aware of. You know, I respected him. You know, I respect him. So it's just like, I was just like, you know, I didn't want to believe. I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just was like, you know, when I see it, I'll believe it. Cause he's like, first conversation, he's saying he's gonna take me on tour, and I'm like,
wow,
man, you know, I don't know, man. Whatever.
And Drake did just that. He took A$AP Rocky on tour at the height of Take Care, arguably Drake's best album. But not only did he take Rocky on tour, this same tour, he had Kendrick Lamar on there. But that's his own video. Drake and Rocky friendship went far though. They was making money together. Back in 2012, Drake was really putting Rocky on. It was looking good for the two. See, back then, Drake and 2 Chainz had been working on this song together, right? And Drake was feeling good about it. And he felt so good about this song, he didn't even want to keep it. Originally, he just wanted to get a song to Kendrick. Drake said it was actually Kendrick's record first. He asked me to get on Poetic Justice, and I was like, oh, Poetic Justice, that's a great song, but it's typical. I'm gonna be on the soft girl song of that album. So I was like, let me give you something. And Drake wanted this specific song to get put on Good Kid, Mad City, but it ended up not fitting the album's narrative. But the way the song was coming together was going good. Drake and his main producer 40 had been working on the posthumous Aaliyah album. So when they was working on this song, they took some of her unreleased vocal samples and put it on this song. And for a little minute, the song was sitting because Kendrick ain't want it, Drake ain't want to put it out. And so, song sitting, really looking at it. With hindsight, these niggas was sitting on a gold mine. And I mean, when this song did come out, it was a smash. But the song wasn't done getting passed around yet. Eventually, it got to A$AP Rocky. And it was looking like a hit just off the features. Rocky probably got this song and was feeling crazy. This song had Drake, Kendrick, 2 Chainz on it back in 2012, and then they just added A$AP Rocky on top. It was crazy. This was a song that Rocky really did need. He was still trying to build a name, and he was under a label that was putting all this pressure on him to release a hit song. And this was different problems with Drake, Kendrick, 2 Chainz, and A$AP Rocky. This song came out and the world loved it. You couldn't get away from it. Song peaked at number 8 and was what Rocky needed for his label and his album. And when the song was going crazy, Drake was speaking on it. He gave his thoughts on how everything went down. Drake said most people would be like, oh, we're gonna say this for 6-7 months until my album came out. For me, I was like, I'm gonna get this song to somebody who popping right now. We all on tour, it's a big record. It need to come out in the next 2 months. So I made that personal decision. Sure, I sacrificed my record. Maybe they'll think I'm crazy, but I'm very present in the rap game. Even when I'm working on the album, what I do is pick 5-6 songs, disperse it out, and say, this gonna keep me alive in the people's mind for the next year. 2012, even though Rocky and Drake was getting real cool, would also be the year the war between A$AP Rocky and Drake started before they even knew it. See, around this time, he was collabing with Drake, but he was also getting cool with Rihanna. And if you're wondering why this even important, well, Drake and Rihanna go back years. I'm talking about early 2000s. See, they kind of met at 05 back at the video shoot, but Drake was just the background nigga. They really ain't paying no mind to him. So he see Rihanna, but he ain't known at the time. He wasn't finna go up and speak. He was just some dude up there recording with. But that changed a few years later. After Drake became someone the whole world knew, in 2009, after Rihanna broke up with Chris Brown, after you know what happened, that's when she started messing around with Drake a little bit. And y'all know the story. I don't know what she did to that man, but he could never let go. Over the years, he been fiending to get back with Rihanna, and she don't want him. But yeah, even though she didn't want him, they was still on and off a little bit. But Drake's feelings for this woman was so strong, it would start to tear him and Rocky friendship apart. And to the world, it seemed like him and Rocky was actually friends.
Yeah, well, you know what it is, Juicy Drake, OVO XO Click, man. A$AP, exactly. So, I mean, you know, I earned the right to call myself A$AP Drizzy one day.
Oh,
it's like, it's
official.
Cause it's
and
like,
there it is.
Nah, for real, it's just, yeah, it's rare that you meet people, man, like with talent and then mindset and then just like an immediate loyalty to go with that talent, you know. So when I met ASAP, like I've said in the interview right here, just right off the bat, did one of the kindest things anybody's ever done. Like came to check me, brought me a bottle of Chris. You know what I'm saying? Got me back drinking Chris.
But as the years went on and as Drake was off and on with her, there was plenty of interviews where he would speak on Rihanna and profess his love, basically. He was doing one interview and it was like, has a woman ever hurt you? He said, I've probably been hurt more times than I hurt someone else. It's a different world with a microscope and the internet. Another question, what makes it so hard? Drake said, to get women to trust you. When you have a woman in your life and you telling her, I'm in New York working on my album, and you actually in New York working on your album, but they say you in the Bahamas with so-and-so, it's hard for her to believe. I've had women lash out based off the fact that they think I'm lying when I'm not. Another question, fireworks, was that about being Rihanna's rebound guy, right? Drake, not necessarily the rebound guy. In the last question, that kind of had people looking at Drake kind of odd. He was being real vulnerable with this interview. They asked Drake, did she hurt you? Drake said at the time it hurt, but she didn't mean to. I never put that on her. I was hurt because I slowly started to realize what it was. I guess I thought it was more. That was the first girl with any fame that paid me any mind. You spend days reading about this person in a magazine. All of a sudden, you have the #1 song. You're sitting at some birthday party and there she is. And you just some naive kid from Toronto staying in some trash hotel who got invited to this party on a whim. That's just how it happened. Yeah, when they got together, Drake was kind of big, but Rihanna was a superstar. And I'm thinking that him being with her made him feel small because she was so much bigger than him. It seemed like him being with her was real intimidating. Another interview, he said this about her. She the ultimate fantasy. I mean, think about it. Like, man, that would be good. We had fun together. She cool, but we just friends. That's my dog for life. I'm not acting no coochie like I was 3 years ago when I was trying to make up for all the years when no girl would talk. But I haven't met somebody that makes everybody else not mad. This kind of where everything go dark. See, over the years, Drake would always mention Rihanna every chance he got. He was gonna speak on that woman no matter what, but she never spoke on him. Anytime she was acting about previous relationships or old dudes she was with, you know who wasn't ever in the question? You know who she never brought up? Drake. And the moment that really changed everything for Drake will be in 2016. This year, they dropped a hit song together. Matter of fact, they dropped multiple hit songs together, but all that was leading up to one moment, really like the climax, the thing that broke everything. 2016 MTV Awards. Drake was hosting it. He was announcing all the awards, and guess who happened to win the award? Rihanna. When time came for Drake to give her the award, he was wildin'. He did a whole speech just talking about how he had always been obsessed with her and he loved her. Basically, the nigga was tripping. He said, the first time I met Rihanna was in 2005. She was shooting a music video at a restaurant called Avocado in Toronto, and the director of the video was Lil X. I was introduced to her as a kid who played background music at a restaurant as people ate pasta. It's hard to believe that 11 years later, all three of us would come together to create visuals for the song called Work. But 11 years later, they will still all know Rihanna as the one and only Rihanna, captivating from day one. The iconic being that Rihanna already is at a place where most artists only dream of going. For them, that is often the peak, but for her, that was the starting point. She has to keep ascending to an untouchable level ever since. When it comes to music, she relentlessly take over the charts with every release. When it comes to performances, they swarm in the masses just to be in her presence. And when it comes to fashion and style, she make it seem so effortless. This woman surpassed all competition while still being the same girl from Barbados, surrounded by the same friends, speaking with the same accent, and never missing a crop over unless it's to perform at OVO Fest. We love the music, which can change styles from album to album, but most of all, we love a woman who hasn't changed for day one. She's someone I love since I was 22 years old. She a living, breathing legend in the industry. But that wasn't it. Even after this whole speech where he's saying everything that he's saying, she walks up to come get the award. This nigga leans in for a kiss. She ain't want that kiss though. She moved out the way and the whole world seen it. Whole world seen her dodge this man kiss. And this had people speculating. They was really questioning how she really felt about Drake because all of this was adding up. They never seen her talk about him in interviews. They never seen her do this and do that, but she just dodged this man kiss. And so people got to thinking, was she uncomfortable? Was she just nervous about winning the award? And people really didn't know until a few years later where she did an interview and spoke on that situation. In 2018, she said this. Rihanna said, the VMAs is such a fan-focused award show, so having that energy around me and knowing the people who had received the award in the past made it feel like a big deal. She said, waiting through that speech though was probably the most uncomfortable part. I don't like many compliments. I don't like to be put on blast. And when she was asked about how her friendship and Drake was going, she said, we don't have a friendship now, but we not enemies either. it is what it is. And this one statement that she said publicly for the whole world to see really changed everything with Drake. Since he said Drake made her uncomfortable, that man ain't said nothing positive about Rihanna. And this is where A$AP Rocky come into play. After all that went down, after everything Drake and Rihanna and Rocky been through, in 2020, Rihanna and A$AP come out saying that they was together. Drake had a field day with that info. That man went on the A$AP Rocky Rihanna dissing spree. Last October, Drake came out with For All the Dogs, an album that wasn't really received too good, but it did have some decent songs on there. This album though was where he got the diss. Fourth song on the album, he had some words for Rihanna. The whole first verse, he was rapping about Rihanna and how the world felt like they was trying to make it seem like he was hung up on her. And I'm gonna be honest, these was some weak ass bars. Drake said, I'm anti. Yeah, and the sex was average, Rachel. I'm anti cause I had it with you. I'm auntie like your daddy's sister. Anti like a family picture. And I had way better bitches than you. TBH. And you gotta understand, Drake is 40 years old talking about I got better bitches than you. And you know what's crazy? It's like he kind of dematuring. In the quote from him I read earlier, he was like, yeah, I'm not chasing pussy no more because I did all of that when I was younger and when I was coming up. And keep in mind, that came out years ago. Drake is 40 years old, basically going against what he said back then. And then you gonna say TBH. Like, Drake, where was the writers at when you made this one, my nigga? But every line on that song was a dig at her. I mean, the I'm anti line was playing on her latest album title that came out in 2016, Anti. Then on this song, Another Late Night, on the same album, he dropped the Rocky diss. Or I don't know if it's necessarily a diss, but he dropped Rocky by name. He said, open that up. It's jaw dropping, really shocking. I ain't Pretty Flacco, but it's get really rocky. If you don't know, A$AP Rocky like to call himself Pretty Flacco. And for a few months after this, we wouldn't really get a response to Drake from Rocky until early January. Rocky got on Kid Cudi album on the song Wow and dropped a little line on Drake. He said, these niggas can't stunt me. Go get a man, Drake. And okay, this was one line. It got a couple headlines, but nobody really paid attention to it until Drake got into it with Kendrick. Now look, it is plenty of vids on here about the whole Drake versus Kendrick beef, and I'm actually in one of them. My boy Maddie just dropped an hour-long documentary the other day, and I had a little part in there. So you need to go watch that after you finish watching this. But I'm here to focus on Drake versus A$AP Rocky, because he played a part of this. Metro Boomin dropped the first album, We Don't Trust You, and it had like that on there. The song that started the whole beef. But on the second album, We Still Don't Trust You, is when Rocky came in on the second to last song on the album, where he had some words for Drake. He said, call up Pluto Metro, should've put me on the first one. Niggas swear they bitch the baddest, I just bagged the worst one. Niggas in they feelings over women, what you heard or something, I smashed before you burst some. Flacco hit it first, still don't trust you. It's always us, never them. Heard you dropped your latest shit. Funny how it came and went. And this verse was really him making fun of Drake for wanting Rihanna over all them years just for her to end up with Rocky. And not only did Rocky say that, but he also said, I smashed before you birthed. And we probably wonder, what the hell do this mean? Well, Rocky dated Drake baby mama at one point. Rocky hit Drake baby mama before Drake made a baby with her. And his last part of the verse wasn't really wrong either, where he was like, your last one came and went. For all the dogs, it did come and went. You do not hear For All the Dogs in any conversations about music today. I mean, just looking at the reviews alone will show you how disliked this album was. I didn't have high expectations going into this. Drake's last few releases felt uninspired and was just thrown together. Somehow, even after promising a return to his older sound, Drake found a way to disappoint once more. I know that people may be quick to label me as a hater, but all I want to see is Drake win and excel in his artistry. I became a fan of hip hop because of Drake, and I've been rocking heavily with his music since So Far Gone. I wish fans would stop shoveling anything into their ears and hold artists like Drake to a higher standard. This man got all the resources in the world to make the best album of his career, and yet he continues to settle, artistically speaking. I think I'll stick to listening to his disc card. 2 out of 5 for All the Dogs. And this wasn't even the only review that had something bad to say. The audience rating on this album has nearly as many 1 stars as 5 stars. And that's saying something. But what did Drake have to say? Of course he responded, right? Well, yeah, he responded on the song where he was dissing the whole industry, Family Matters. But he started a Rocky diss by calling him his first name, because at the very end of Show of Hands, the song where Rocky dissed Drake, Rocky said, F keeping this hip hop, I want to see an F nigga bleed out. So Drake took it away from hip hop and called him by his real name. He said, Rakim talking shit again, gas cause you hit my baby mama first. Nigga, do the math, who was I hitting in? I ain't even know you rap cause they only talking about your fit again. Probably gotta have a kid again before you think of dropping any shit again. Even when you do, they gon' say you should've modeled cause it's men again. And the last album he dropped was real experimental. And you know what people said? People did say it was mid. People do look at A$AP Rocky more for his fits than his actual music. Drake said, "You was with my baby mama. Who do you think I was hitting when you was with her? Nigga was hitting at Rihanna." And the other lines kind of speak for themselves. I don't really got to get into it. But after all this controversy and all this going back and forth, it leads us to what just came out a few days ago. See, before this, A$AP Rocky peoples kind of had been hitting at what was to come. Because a few months before this, Rocky announced his first album in years. That man ain't dropped the album since 2018. Nigga, we is in 2024. And this album coming out August 28th. But leading up to this album, we had been getting teasers. And one of these teasers was being a Drake diss on his upcoming album. But we ain't know it was gonna be the lead single to the album. So, other day, Friday, Rocky came on interpolating the original diss track that started the whole beat. And if I'm gonna be honest, this diss was kind of ass. I'm not gonna lie to you. He just got on here repeating what he said before, how he hit Rihanna and hit Drake baby mama. You just saying the same thing over and over again. And niggas kind of did realize that even if people were speaking about it, even if the internet was, oh, Rocky dissed Drake, the diss wasn't nothing crazy. You just keep saying the same thing over and over, and we get it. We get that you hit Rihanna, you hit Drake baby mama, you did all of this, but you gotta come at Drake different. You said this already, and you gotta spice it up a little bit.
Supposedly A$AP Rocky smashed Drake's baby moms, but Drake smashed his baby moms. So they basically just traded. They're like they're Eskimo brothers beefing. They both each other's baby mothers. And now it's like, okay, who has the up in the situation? And Rocky's trying to put it on record like, you know, which, I mean, if we think logically, he's with a billionaire. Drake's baby mom's ain't a billionaire. But it's hard to put that on record when, again, we're bringing up the Meek thing. It's easy to just belittle you. Remember, your girl ain't beefing for you. It's you. We're going to belittle you and basically say your girl is just carrying you in every type of way. Like, you're a bum ass. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares when you rap. Your girl is the only thing keeping you relevant. This is why Drake dissed him like this. This is why I say he shouldn't mention his girl. You can't mention Rihanna. He's supposed to diss Drake on any other type of shit. You soft. You can say anything else, but don't mention Rihanna, because Rihanna is more successful than you, and it's just easy for clown you. Rocky trying to respond, but you got sauteed too much, and he's using your girl. Your response can have nothing to do with your girl. Like, don't use Rihanna as a buffer, because he's always just gonna say you're a bum ass and she's lit, and she's like, you're the bitch and she's the man type. I mean, like, that's the way to diss a nigga.
But something telling me this ain't the last time he gonna diss Drake. I don't think this gonna be the only Drake diss on that album. If he actually come at Drake harder, I think it could be crazy. We might see another war in hip hop. We might not. Maybe Drake tired of all the backlash and beef he been in. We just gotta see. I'm actually excited for this album, and I'm excited to see what comes of this situation. Just keep it in the music. Don't take it to the streets. I'm begging.